Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Right now, Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here to talk about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. This is a new week and a new episode. And I totally forgot. It slipped my mind, guys. 1 year anniversary on this podcast was actually June the 21st when we released our first episode on Alexis Patterson.
Nice.
It seems so long ago, but it really wasn't. It was a year ago. And thank you all who was there for us in the beginning and still here now. Even the new people who listen to our episodes from the beginning was like, okay, these girls, they got some. I mean, guys, I ain't gonna lie. Our first couple of episodes, yeah. But we learned. The writing got better, logo, everything got better. It just took a lot of time and patience. But thank you for being here with us. This is our last episode for the month of June, which is Pride Month. And this episode is actually very important. I don't know, I've been keeping a little secret from you guys. I have been working with the transgender task force. And to get a lot of cases out there that deal with the LGBT, they sent me a long list. It was so long, guys. I had to send it to some of my podcast friends like, hey, we didn't get a lot of these cases out there to help their loved ones know what happened to them. And this episode's actually from that list they gave me. So, guys, let's get into the episode. She boarded a plane for what's supposed to be a simple vacation. Just 10 days of rest on a quiet island. But during a routine layover at one of the busiest airports in the country, something changed. Surveillance footage showed her walking away from the terminal alone. She dragged her suitcase down a dark service road, slipping beyond security zones and out towards an industrial no-man land, an area of warehouse, swamp ditches, and forgotten signage. Around 2 a.m., she stopped and sat on a curb under the dim yellow glow of a streetlight. For nearly 2 hours, she stayed there, motionless, watching, waiting. Then, just before 4 a.m., she stand up, turned a corner, and disappeared. No phone, no bag, no signal, no trace. Search team with drones, dog, and cadaver units combed the area. Nothing. Her last known location sits on the edge of a private airport property, where access is patchy, visibly low, and danger easy to miss. Some think she wandered off in confusion. Others believe she was targeted. A few say she may still be out there, walking, silent, alone. What happened that night in the shadows of the airport? And how does someone vanish completely under the watchful eye of 1,000 cameras? This is the story of a woman who walked in the dark and never came back. This is the case of Pauline Del Mundo. Before she vanished into the dark silence outside of one of the busiest airport in the world. Pauline Del Mundo was a woman who had spent her life caring for others, a quiet woman, a woman of faith, a woman with a gentle voice and a spirit that somehow felt both soft and relentless. Her story doesn't begin with her disappearance. It began decades earlier on June 6, 1960, in a small house somewhere in the Philippines, the kind of place where family was everything, where life was loud and crowded, and yet full of love. Pauline was the ninth of 12 siblings, born into a sprawling, tight-knit Philippine family. She grew up surrounded by noise and laughter, by shared meals and prayer, by siblings who tease and protect each other, and by a culture that taught her the value of loyalty and sacrifice. From the start, she was quiet than some of the others, more observant, more sensitive. And there was something else, something that set her apart. Though she was assigned male at birth, Pauline knew deep down that her spirit didn't fit the labels others had given her. In a deeply religious and traditional society, being different meant carrying the truth in silence. But she carried it with grace. As her siblings grew up scattered across the world, to California, Florida, New York, and beyond, Pauline remained rooted to her core of the family. She helped, she cooked, she listened. She gave more than she took. In time, she began living more openly as her true self, a transgender woman. Her family, especially her sisters, stood by her. They didn't ask her to change. They just kept loving her. In 2008, at the age of 48, she was brought to the United States by her sister Leonore, who had immigrated years earlier. Pauline left behind the only home she has ever known to begin quietly, bravely in California. She lived with Leonore for 7 years, and during that time, she worked towards a new purpose, to care for others in a new way. She enrolled in a Certified Nursing Assistant (CNA) program, studied hard, and eventually graduated top of her class. That's who Pauline was, a woman who didn't just do what was asked of her. She exceeded expectations, always. She moved to Tampa, Florida, where she landed a job at James A. Haley Veteran Hospital, a federal facility serving men and women who had given their lives to serve. She gave her care with a kind of gentleness that patients don't forget. Her coworkers describe her as dedicated, soft-spoken, never late, never absent. She was beloved and took pride in her work. Outside the hospital, Pauline lived simply. She wasn't rich. She didn't chase fame or followers. What she did chase, what she treasured, was peace. And every now and then, she will reward herself with a trip, once to the Dominican Republic, other times to destination far from the spotlight, places where she will walk the beach or sit beneath the sun and simply be. But even strength has its limits. In 2019, Pauline was dealing with a chronic shoulder pain from a rotator cuff injury. The pain was affecting her sleep, her spirit, and possibly her sense of clarity. She kept going to work. She kept showing up, but inside she was tired. So she booked a vacation to Cozumel, Mexico, a 10-day trip meant to rest her body and renew her spirit. Her flight was scheduled for September 14, 2019. She packed her bags, made her way to Tampa International Airport, and boarded a connecting flight to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, DFW, where she would transfer to her final destination. But somewhere during the layover, something changed. Pauline never got onto her connecting flight.
Instead, she called her sister in Tampa. She sounded distressed. Her voice was off, nervous, unsure. She said she no longer wanted to go to Cozumel. She said she wanted to go home. She asked for help buying a return ticket to Tampa. Her sister told her she would book it, but when she called Pauline back to give her flight information, Pauline didn't answer. She never answered again. What followed is a mystery that has haunted her family ever since. Airport surveillance shows Pauline leaving Terminal C around 10:30 p.m. She is then seen walking along the dark shoulder of International Parkway, dragging her suitcase past a valet gate, past traffic signs and terminals, and even deep into the airport's warehouse district. She walked more than 2 miles, alone, at night. At 1:48 a.m., cameras caught her sitting on a curb near South 20th Avenue and Airfield Drive. For nearly 2 hours, she sat there, motionless. Was she waiting? Was she scared? Did she think someone was coming? Then, at 3:52 a.m., she stood up, turned the corner, and disappeared behind a sign. That was the last known sight of Pauline Del Mundo. The area where she vanished is remote, overgrown. Construction, ditches, swampy patches, dense bushes, and wooded areas surround that intersection. It's technically still on airport property, but leased out to private companies. Hardly a place anyone would walk to, let alone someone unfamiliar with the terrain. When her family couldn't reach her, panic set in. They contacted authorities, field reports, made calls, flew out to Texas, joined search parties. They even brought the outside help, CUE, Community United Effort for Missing Persons, launched a ground search with drones, dogs, and volunteers. They combed every ditch, every path, every corner off the brush, but they found nothing. No suitcase, no wallet, no phone, no sign of a struggle, nobody. Just silence. Her family still doesn't know what happened. Was she a victim of foul play? Did she collapse from exhaustion or pain in the darkness? Was she targeted because she was transgender? Or did her mental state, shaken by pain, isolation, or fear, lead her somewhere no one can follow? They don't know, and the not knowing is a wound that never closes. Her sister Yolanda wrote, "We are puzzled, disturbed. We don't know whether she was assaulted, kidnapped, murdered, or mutilated, or whether she's still alive, walking aimlessly as a homeless person in the streets of Dallas or Fort Worth, an area unfamiliar to her. They pray the rosary every night. They hold on to hope. They say her name, and they keep asking the world to bring her home." Pauline Del Mundo was 59 years old when she vanished. She was about 5'6", with a medium build. Her legal ID may still say Paulino Norberto Del Mundo Jr. If you saw anything that night, if you live or work near South 20th Avenue and Airfield Drive, if you remember something, even something small, call DFW Airport Police at 972-973-3553 or the CUE 24-hour tip line at 910-232-1687. Her family is still waiting, still hoping, still listening for her footsteps coming back through that door. Before we end this case, let's sit back and remember the lady that went missing. Pauline, we remember you. She was never loud, not the kind of person who demanded attention when she entered a room, but she didn't need to. Her kindness spoke for her, her patience. The way she looked at you when she spoke, like you were the only voice that mattered in the world. She was the 9th child in a family of 12, one of many, yet unforgettable. She grew up in a warm, busy home in the Philippines, where there were always too many hands in the kitchen, too many shoes by the door, and never enough chairs at the dinner table. But there was love and laughter and prayer. And there was her, quiet, observant, a girl in the world that hadn't yet learned to see clearly. She knew who she had been. She knew who she was long before she had the words for it. And when she finally began to live as the woman she'd always been inside, it wasn't with fanfare. It was with Grace. Later in life, she moved to a new country. She left everything familiar behind in search of peace. And even though she started over at an age when most people are settling in, she did it without complaint. She studied hard. She worked harder. She became a certified nursing assistant, graduating at the top of her class, and poured herself into caring for others the way she had always, gently, completely, without even asking for anything in return. At the hospital, she was known as the one who was never late, never absent. Quiet, yes, but dependable. She brought calm into the chaos. She loved her family. She prayed often. She dreamed of the ocean and soft sunlight. She saved up for vacations, not to escape her life, but to rest, because she gave so much of herself to everyone else. And then one day, she vanished. On her way to what was supposed to be a simple vacation, something changed. A moment of fear, or confusion, or pain. A phone call asking for help, and then nothing. Silence. A final image of her sitting alone on a curb, and then walking away into the night, past the glow of the streetlight, into a place no one could follow. There has been no goodbye. Her sisters pray to the rosary every night. Her family's still searching. They wait for news, for a voice, for a sign. And in silence, they remember her not as a mystery, but as a person, a soul, a woman with quiet dreams and enormous heart. She mattered. She matters. And whether the world ever finds out what happened to her, her story deserves to be told with tenderness, with truth, with all the dignity she lived with, because she was more than a case file, more than a missing flyer. She was someone's sister, someone's friend, a caretaker, a believer. She was love, and she has not been forgotten. This is the case of Pauline Del Mundo. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives.
You or me?
Good?
With this case, I always just sit back and think something happened on that first plane. I wonder if the police could ever talk to the flight attendants, because I feel like flight attendants, and I used to work at the airport, guys. So flight attendants, they know a lot of what's going on that plane. They know everything. Like, you could be doing things you think the flight attendants don't see. They see it. They just like if it's not dangerous to them, they're not going to say anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I wonder if the person who sat by her, because I don't know the first plane, I don't know if it was like 3 people to, a row or 2 people. So I wonder whoever sat by her, did they notice something like going on with her? Like, or did they say something to bother her? Because sometimes with connecting flights, that person who's on your first flight, they probably on your second flight, on your connecting flight.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that person who sat by her kind of gave her a weird vibe or said something to her or did anything. Because people are like, oh, like her shoulder was hurting. And I had a couple friends, and I am in the medical field, so I do know that pain. Not that I never had that pain, but I know a lot of people who deal with that pain. Even my coworker dealt with that type of injury in her shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like the damage it can do to your body, but mentally I feel like she probably was in pain, but it doesn't seem like anything was going to affect her mentally because of her shoulder.
Right.
But I just feel like something probably happened, and I feel like her family probably think the same thing. Something happened on that first flight. Something, I don't know if somebody harassed her or she just didn't get a good feeling. And we are in the state of Texas and we do know DFW airport. Let me tell you something, I'm the wrong person to go pick you up at the airport because DFW airport is big. It is gigantic. I mean, guys, like I have picked my wife up a couple times and she'll see me going and then I make a wrong turn. I be back around the corner. I'm like, how? I be back like coming in the airport. I'm like, how did I do this? So it's big and I worked there before. So I know like you can easily get lost or something can happen. So that's another thing. Like, what if she was just like something happened on that first plane and mentally she's like, I just gotta go. I just gotta go. I need to get some fresh air. And I know my anxiety is high. I need fresh air. I need to sit alone for a couple hours and just regroup. I wonder if she just, so much was going on and she just needed a moment. And then she tried to walk back inside the airport and she just got lost.
So I believe somebody approached her. Somebody made her feel uncomfortable. The whole reason for her taking the trip was so she could, like you said, regroup, kind of give her shoulder a rest, see if she could feel better. And basically just refresh.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, yes, she did good by contacting her sister to book her another flight. Like, that's understandable. But if somebody made her uncomfortable, she probably should have asked for help, maybe with security. Like, if she felt somebody was after her or making her feel uncomfortable, she should have asked for help too with the airport staff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm feeling a certain type of way. Would you mind sitting here or would you mind bringing me an escort? Somebody to be there to just keep a watchful eye or keep that person that made her uncomfortable away.
Mm-hmm.
But she just kind of was left. I understand she was timid, but she just kind of like left trying to figure it out herself. And since then, she's disappeared.
Yeah, sometimes with timid and like people who so shy, it takes a lot for them to go up and talk to them. Like the anxiety, everything. You're like, okay, I can do it. I can do it. And you go for you like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And that used to happen to me a lot. I'm like, okay, I could do this. And then I get there like, no. And I have a friend like that. She can know you for years and months, guys. But if she get like shy and inside her head, she's shutting down. You're like, girl, like, it's okay. Like, we've been knowing each other for a couple years now. You can like, it's okay. I'm here for you. But for some reason, whatever they had, they have to just shut down for that moment. Like, they're not trying to be mean or like rude to you. They just need a second to recharge.
Which I understand because she was seen sitting on a curb, just kind of, they don't know if she was waiting for somebody. And then all of a sudden she got up and she just started walking away. But you have to ask for help.
Yeah. And it's hard for people to ask for help.
And it's like, we're not going to know what happened to her until somebody comes out with new information.
Mm-hmm.
And just like my wife said, maybe somebody in the plane before, or maybe she saw somebody at the airport that made her uncomfortable. Like, we won't know until they release the footage and see who she was talking to, if she was talking to somebody, because she's so timid. She probably didn't. I really want to know why she didn't go to Mexico. What triggered her to just all of a sudden say, hey, I don't want to go. And me, myself, I'm the type of person that's very outgoing. Mexico is where my family's from. I speak the language. I'm very comfortable. But even so, I would be scared to travel to Mexico by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the type of person that I am.
During the case, she went to DR. She went to all the destinations.
Right. So what happened? So then it wasn't just a freak out of, oh, dang, like I'm going to be by myself. It was something happened.
Somebody made her uncomfortable. And we can think about what I said in the beginning. While she's on the plane and the person beside her was harassing her and like made her so uncomfortable. And they, sometimes you're on a plane, you're like, hey, like, where you going? Where you traveling to? And she could be like, oh, I'm going to Mexico and, I'm being there for 10 days. And that person kept harassing her. And she was like, okay, like, this person's going to the same location with me. This person's already making me uncomfortable. I don't know if this person's going to do anything to me when we get to our destination. I just can't do it. And that's why she probably called her sister. You remember the case we just did? The person told them like who hurt them and also told the friend all the information. It's like sometimes when stuff happens, guys, just tell your loved one what happened. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to wait. No, in that moment, just tell them like what's bothering you in that second. In case something do happen to you, your loved one can go to the police and say, yes, she said this when we were on the phone, because it can help fill in the blanks. I mean, it does in a lot of ways, but sometimes police don't care. But, it helps a lot of times.
I know a lot of people, too, will ask you, hey, are you traveling by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You become a victim. And if somebody had already scoped her out and saw that she was traveling by herself, maybe it was already kind of arranged.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And that's why it's so important for us to know who she spoke to.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It's so much records. I wonder if the police can go back, look at the flight she was on, look who was beside her. They still can go and look at like the seats, like who sat there, who sat here, and talk to the people who were even around. Because sometimes you probably heard something you didn't even know. Because if she felt uncomfortable and she was getting harassed, the person in front of her or the person behind her, they would have heard something. They probably wouldn't have spoke up, because a lot of people don't speak up nowadays, but they would have heard her being uncomfortable. And even though it's a couple years ago, you would still have that information in your head. If you was on that flight with her and you know any information, please contact the police. Even though you think it's the smallest little thing, you never know how something small can turn to something big.
Right.
So, guys, let's help her family find out what happened to her. That's our case. And this also is the last episode of June and also Pride Month. Remember, we are on all podcast platforms, also YouTube. Every episode drop on a Friday. Please leave 5-star rating and tell us, what do you think happened to Pauline? Tell us your theories. I cannot wait. And if you have a case that you would like for me to cover, please send me an email, DM me, go in the comments, contact me, and I promise you, I will get that episode out there. And this is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
Until proven innocent.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's